it shows up on the very top bar of the browser. So in the tab or way at the top, it'll tell you what the web page is. Whatever's in the title tag is what will go there. And then here's a comment and here's a comment. How do I know this here starts a comment? Then when we do the dash closing, whatever it is, I forget what it's called now. Basically between there, anything in there, HTML ignores, it won't print it out to the screen. And it's more or less for the programmer or the designer to tell where certain parts of the page start, and it's just a note to us, the designer. Yes?
Does the comment is started by pointy exclamation point or by pointy exclamation point minus?
The whole entire thing.
Okay, thank you.
So basically, that there's a comment, it's just a note for us. So if you look at your source code in the browser chain websites, you'll probably see this, and then this here will be in orange, meaning it was ignored by the browser. Then finally, inside the body, this is where all the content of the web page goes. So here I have a P and a slash P. That means paragraph. So basically this here, these kind of tags are where text go. It's not totally necessary, but it will help you validate your web page a lot quicker. Because if you put text without any kind of tag surrounding it, it tends to throw off the validators a little bit, and it's just easy to put in a paragraph tag, which can then be associated to your CSS style sheet to make this maybe show up in a box or something prettier than just plain text on your browser. Then inside there, I've got some text here. So this web page here I'm showing, hello world, selection series is on its way. We'll be coming back to the page. And then this BR here has a slash inside the tab. This here is called a self-closing element. So BR means break the line, because when you hit enter in a web browser in HTML, that enter isn't going to do anything. It won't be interpreted by the browser, and the text will still remain on the same line. It'll be squished by the browser. This here says I want to put an enter in, so it'll force a line to go down when it's riddle. So, moving on, A means anchor. This is how we create links on web pages. So, the website http:// this here will be where the text file location goes to. So when you click on something, your email or whatever, chances are it's in something that looks like this. Moving on, HTML tags. Pretty much we covered this already, but here's your closing tag again. The element usually goes between them, or whatever text is between them. Then you have attributes, which are the things in between. They're inside the tag, but not a part of it. Then you have the actual tag. So this opens, this closes. The new standard, you don't need that XML and S or whatever it is anymore. They did away with it. So the header of a strict document, remember the doc type specification. This is the old standard once again. I thought I'd leave it just for reference. But the doc type basically tells the browser what the language is that it's going to be parsing, and then the rest of it tells some certain stuff about what the language is. And then underneath the header, we typically put an HTML tag. Once again, the old standard is this. Not really important because HTML5 did away with most of it. So the beauty of HTML5, this is what you used to have to write at the very top of every HTML document to get it to validate. This here is HTML5. Once again, we cut down on the bloat completely. So continuing into the head tag, information gets placed here, like I said. The meta tag just prevents encoding errors because it tells us that we're going to follow the International Font Standard. Not so much a font, but encoding type. So it tells us when H is, when E is, and A, etc. Chinese characters are included in UTF-8. So if you want to write a page in Chinese, you're definitely going to need to specify the UTF-8 standard. and the link in there. Here's how we include a style sheet or a CSS sheet. Link, REL, I believe that stands for relative or relation maybe. But we tell it that it's a style sheet. The type is CSS, of course, because that's only standard I know for styling. Then href tells us where the style sheet is. Then your body tag, I pretty much covered this already, so let's just skip over it. Once again, there's the link anchor tag. So if we're at example.com/index.html, and we specify lecture 1, it goes to lecture 1. Basically, this example is just to say that you don't have to put HTTP garble in there. If you just start with whatever the first letter is to the link, it'll go to the very last slash, and that's where it'll fill in that text. So lecture 1, if you're on index.html, we'll go to whatever this is, the last slash, and then the actual link. So let's discuss some editors. Dreamweaver. This isn't free, this is Adobe's product. What you see is what you get. It's completely visual, very easy to use. Looks like Microsoft Word for creating a web page. I never use these editors because, well, one, I like coding, so I like seeing lots and lots of programming crap. But front page, don't use that ever. That's the worst of them all. But Dreamweaver and most editors that do the what you see is what you get paradigm tend to insert a lot of extra paragraph tags or spaces, which you can force a space in HTML. So basically, they put a lot of that stuff in there to make sure that your page looks right. Your page will show up right, but if you look at the code, it will look horrible. And that's why if you ever look at websites, you can usually tell if a programmer made the website or a designer made the website, because you can tell what these Dreamweaver editors can do, because they're made for taking pictures, putting them on a website, and lining right over the pictures. And they really aren't that great. Text only editor, PHP Designer, once again not free, too cheap for UB students and all students actually. Notepad++ is kind of like PHP Designer. It was a recommendation to me to replace something else that I had up here from the last time. And then Notepad, you can always use Notepad. It's included with Windows. TextEd is the Mac version. Or you can use a command line editor if you know what those are. So I'll typically use Vim for demos just because that's what I know. But in the Linux world, we usually fight over which one's better, Vim or Emacs. So I'm a Vim person. Before transferring files, because we are going to upload this initial web page today, Windows likes adding special characters to the end of your lines. Lots of garbly good at the end, and this can make your HTML pages look a little weird on the website. I've noticed that PHP Designer has removed empty lines. Other editors do the same thing now. So if you're finding that your editor adds these weird things at the end of each line, and you don't know what they are, just switch editors. There's a lot of them out there. So at this point, I want to break away and create the web lectures site. And this here is actually going to get into cPanel a little bit and hosting. So let me log into cPanel, and then I'll explain a little bit about what cPanel does. So on most websites, they're hosted, the hosting software behind websites is called cPanel. For most cases, it runs on port 2082, 2083 for secure. And basically, this allows you to manage everything about your website on most commercial hosting platforms. Not all hosts have cPanel, but most do. Bluehost is probably one of the better ones. So here, if I can log in. I probably can't type a password worth crap. I know the group password, so that'll always let me in. Then I can just log into FamousFill and show you what cPanel is. So, shows you how much I actually log into this. So, I do have my own web hosting company. This is one of the servers I'm on. Well, I have dedicated servers and data centers. So basically, cPanel allows you to modify everything about your website. It tells you some general information about what you can use on the server. For example, email accounts, it allows you to put you@yourdomain.com, subdomains, which we're actually going to create one pretty soon, and your disk space usage, bandwidth. There's awesome statistics when you get into hosting companies. So for example, AW Stats is an excellent program. It'll tell you pretty much everything about your website, where your traffic comes from, who's visiting your website, what IP addresses there are. And the neat feature that I always like to look at is what the browsers are. So Firefox is obviously my number one. I blog a lot about Microsoft stuff, so Internet Explorer happens to be up there. Not the best thing, but Internet Explorer is always going to be up there on the top. And I've been focusing towards Google Chrome lately, so that's starting to make a comeback. It'll also tell you your operating systems, how many hits you got, and all sorts of cool stuff about your website. So moving back to cPanel, what we're going to try to do is create a new subdomain. And once again, I'm going to cover what a subdomain is, but weblive.famousfill.com is what we're going to have under FamousFill. So if I go to subdomains in cPanel, it'll let me create a subdomain. So weblive. And it'll usually give you a default document. Oftentimes you're going to see public HTML. That's where most of your web documents go. www is also another common folder. If I haven't mentioned it yet, stay away from GoDaddy. Their hosting completely sucks. Just from personal experience with GoDaddy. So weblive.famousfill.com has been created. And with any luck, we'll be able to go to it now. And hopefully, nothing breaks. Go figure. But I always have a backup plan. So